All right, Dan, thank you so much for joining us today. It's going to be a pleasure to talk with you. I know I sent you some questions, so thanks for taking the time. I know you kind of have contributed into the industry of sports cards and non-sports cards alike. So
hmm
tell us, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Dan Ferguson. I'm a creative designer who ended up in technology, but I've been doing it for like 30, 40 years. And I've got a very bizarre, interesting story. So we'll probably hit on a couple of those. But trading cards were kind of like the beginning of my career when I quit an advertising agency after like 2 years of working after college, worked at an advertising agency for 2 years and picked up a freelance gig for a trading card company. And it just kind of changed my life after that. I did have to lie and say that I knew Adobe Photoshop. And so when I got the job, I went to the bookstore, bought Adobe Photoshop. I think it was like version 1.0 or 2.0. It was like a long, long time ago. And I read the entire manual. I had never opened up Adobe Photoshop before, but I kind of said I could, and then I ended up getting the job. And on that Monday, started opened up Photoshop for the first time and started designing trading cards.
What about sports? Did sports get you into this?
Yeah, so the first trading cards I did was it was for Press Pass, which was heavily involved in NASCAR trading cards. It might have been the base set from 92 or 93 or maybe 94, maybe 93, 94. And, so I did NASCAR trading cards for a long time. I started designing, I did that one gig, and then they hired me to start doing all of their trading cards. And that's what really kind of catapulted me into creating my own company. But then I did Donruss and Playoff and Pro Set and wide variety from football, hockey, baseball, basketball, and then the non-sports ones. Dallas was kind of a unique place. In the 90s was really when baseball cards were kind of exploding quite a bit. And Dallas, so I'm in Dallas. Dallas actually had three or four, maybe five of the major trading card companies were based here. And so that's how I kind of like I worked at one, and then another group would hire me for special projects. And so I'd end up working with a lot of them. The only one I really never worked with was maybe Skybox back then.
Yeah, I think I started in card collecting like '89 as a kid, and that was the
Oh, really?
the junk wax explosion of
Uh-huh.
production. So I'm very
Yep.
familiar with what you're talking about.
Well, and I probably started collecting trading cards when I got like probably the Star Wars trading cards in the 70s, 76, 77, maybe 77, 78. Like I remember, having a cigar box full of them and taking them to school and trading them with somebody, kids and all that. But then it was like probably Star Wars trading cards, and then all the other sci-fi trading cards, and then probably monster cards and all that. And then I kind of got out of it.
Yeah, that's first edition Star Wars cards. I think I got a couple laying around there.
Oh
They're
man.
not very easy to find.
I have one. I think I have one card. I don't know where the rest of them went.
That's cool. I know that you mentioned the sports cards, but I remember reading in one of your listings on eBay that you design cards, and I saw that you had some American Airlines cards. Tell me a little bit more about those.
Yeah, so I started selling some cards recently on eBay. I've been carrying around them with me for literally 30, 40 years. My kids are going to college, and I was unpacking some stuff and I was like, "Oh my God, I've got all these cards." And so I just started selling them. I I was, I feel like I want other people to enjoy them when for me they're just sitting in boxes in storage. And so I was like, be free. Let's get them out there and start selling them. But the American Airlines cards came about, because I was a graphic designer in the early 90s. Um, I started working with American Airlines. So doing some web development work with them. So I was doing graphic design, but I was also doing interactive design. And I think we were building a program with American Airlines, and their 75th anniversary came up, And so talking to the team, they wanted to do something special. So they talked about, hey, we want to create an online game for the 75th anniversary for the employees, and it's tied to the World Series. We're going to give away tickets to the World Series. And I was like, you know what you should do is we should do some trading cards to promote it and give the trading cards out to the employees and not give them all of them. Like give everybody one card and we'll number them. And so every employee would get it in their pay stub. So back then you would get your pay stubs in an envelope, right? And so people would get that as a program for the 75th anniversary, but you would get a randomly inserted card. So that's kind of like what I came up with from all the trading card work that I was doing. And so the trading cards became popular within the employees. And I guess they got out of the company because people were trading them and trying to collect them all. I'm sure some people got them and they're like, what is this? But some people were like, this is really cool. So we try to make them look like vintage trading cards. And then I kind of followed a lot of the rules of how we would do traditional cards. We wanted to number them. We talked about doing a checklist. We wanted to do a lot of them, but they all have some history and facts behind them. And when I put them on eBay, I was really surprised that you reached out to me because I was like, who would collect these? Like, do people collect these? They did.
That's fantastic, and I love these cards. I mean, they look great. I'm pointing at
I
the camera
I
here.
love them too. They're
I like this woman in the flight
Yes,
attendant.
the American Beauty. Yeah.
It's really cool. And kudos for putting numbers on the back. We sometimes talk a lot about airline cards, how a lot of the carriers don't number the cards, and it's kind
I
of a
agree.
frustration.
Why would they not? Um, they don't understand it, or they were probably designed by a graphic designer who never touched a trading card before. But yeah, so I don't know. So I really don't remember if we did randomization or insert numbers like, hey, the American Beauty is printed 4 times more than C.R. Smith. But there was definitely some thinking about that when we did them.
That's fantastic. So you said something I didn't realize. This was distributed to employees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow, makes it a little more exclusive.
They're super exclusive. Yeah. So there was enough that was printed, and I don't remember the quantity of people who are out there who received them, but literally people would get them every month they'd get a pay stub and it would come in the mail. And that's where they'd also put circulars and things like that about company employee benefits and things. And that's how they launched the program. And so there's probably a very few out there in the wild. Because you said you actually found one or two online, or you had one card, right?
Yeah, I had a couple,
How
just a
did you
couple.
find out about it? Did you just see them?
It must have been another seller. Yeah, just another seller on eBay, and it
That's
was
so crazy.
yeah, it was just a few of them, and I saw the numbers on there, so obviously I saw that I was missing missing
Yeah,
some.
yeah,
And you brought to my attention there's actually six of them
yeah.
in the set. So
Which I'd totally forgotten until I started digging into this, going, "Oh yeah, there was six." Because I think I listed five of them, right?
yeah, it was
Yeah.
five that you sent me to begin with.
And then I found the sixth one. I'm like, "Oh hey, by the way, I'll send this to you. I want you to have a complete set." And then I found a couple more, yeah, that I had.
Yeah, these are great. These are great. And okay, so one of the issues with American Airlines, and a lot of people watching this probably realize they just don't have trading cards. So to
Really?
find these,
Yeah.
they're like one of the few U.S. based airlines that don't have trading cards, and hopefully that will change soon. So that's what makes these cars really special.
Well, and maybe somebody there will see this and they'll be like, "Hey, we should do that." Um, yeah,
Yeah.
that surprises me too. I actually was surprised how many airlines actually do have them.
I think just in the last couple of years, a lot more airlines are just exploding. They're all coming out with them because it's like a bandwagon. I think passengers are really excited to get cards from pilots.
Oh,
So
heck yeah, yeah, yeah. No, they're small, they're portable, they're tactile. Sometimes they're beautiful. Like each one of those cards to me is a piece of art. I literally was like pushing the pixels and trying to make it look like the old moire patterns of a bad print, which you'll maybe notice. Some of the ink doesn't match up. It's like slightly offset. I wanted it to look like a kind of a rough set. Like if you look at the C.R. Smith, some of the black ink doesn't register with the colors around it. Yep, it's a little off. You'll notice the black stroke isn't fully registered. That was purposely done. You'll notice the American Airlines actually has it's like bumped over a little bit. It didn't fill the white space where the ink would be.
Oh yeah, okay. All right. Some register issues
It was definitely
intentionally.
registered, and I purposely did that because I wanted them to look a little carelessly old, a little not purposely misaligned, but they were purposely misaligned. But, to where it wasn't as precious as a card would be today, where it has to be perfect, you know, where I wanted it to look like it had maybe had some years on it. So,
Little whimsical and yeah, and
yeah,
as a with a background you have with Upper Deck and Tops and Donruss Press
yeah.
Pass, I mean, you definitely know about cards and perfection and
Oh yeah, yeah. I know about errors. I know about like all the things that people care about. But yeah, it was a really cool program, and you actually have a very unique set. So the one with the band on it, right?
yeah. Okay, so Dan sent me this one here, and it's got a little paper band around it. It's like dollar bills with a paper band around it. So tell me
Yep.
what's going on with this. I'm You've kept me in suspense.
Well, there may be five of those, and those were handmade. The bands were handmade by me, and those were given to senior management, so they would have their own full set. So even though the employees had to beg and borrow and steal and trade, the executive leadership, we kind of did that as a nice gift to them, just like as a nice touch. Because whenever I would do design cards, I'd always like in my contracts, I'd usually ask, I get a complete set. Like that's part of the deal. And at first I didn't do that. But after the first three or four sets I did, I was like, I'm gonna start putting that in a contract, and then I would get the entire set.
Yeah.
So I always thought like when we did these, I was like, somebody should have a complete set, and that will be premium. That's like a special thing to have. So you probably have one of maybe four, five, or six, because I kept one.
Excellent.
I gave you mine. Well, I think I sold it to you. Did
uh,
I give you that one to you?
you sold it to me. You gave it to me
Okay.
for a good price, though.
Yeah, I was like, hey, here's one more. You want another one? So I do have one set. I still have it here. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep one for my records, and I'm going to hold on to that. But I didn't keep the banded one. So
Cool. All
yeah,
right, all right. That's so cool. Yeah, well, thanks for sending that my way.
yeah. I actually put together a couple slides too of like some of the cards and then some unreleased cards. Would you want me to dig
Oh
into that?
man, that would be fun. Yes.
I like it when I get to see things. I get to see behind the scenes. You should be able to see that. You see that okay?
Oh yes, yeah.
All righty. So this was the title card. I illustrated that the airplane, and the airplane was actually ended up being part of the game design, but this was all about, hey, we're going to highlight these memorable moments of the 75 years. And so this was the title card. You'll notice kind of the moire pattern, which is that kind of dot pattern that you see on older high or actually low resolution or low screens when they would do printing. Again, this kind of was promoting and programming part of a program for this online experience. So it was basically this online experience for people to play and compete against each other for the chance to win these tickets to the World Series. So nobody's probably seen this. That was all part of their internal website, and it's gone. Don't have any records of that.
Wow.
But the cards. So here's one of the cards. I think I've got some good zoomed in shots of a couple of the cards. So when I talk about trying to make it look like an older card set, you'll notice some of the blue dots are going outside of the registration of the black stroke of the line.
Yes.
I mean, I really wanted it to look like an older set of cards when the printing presses weren't so perfect, back then. um, the American Beauty. So there was actually two sets of these. Uh, this is the one that was approved, and I'll show you the one that wasn't. So they wanted to highlight the flight attendants' uniforms. So this was the American Beauty card that was designed, and I'll show you the other one. Um, C.R. Smith, who was like president CEO for really their formative years. Um, so he got his own card, and this actually was also in conjunction. We did this with the C.R. Smith Museum, which is the museum at American Airlines headquarters here in DFW Airport. This is the complete set. Which one did I not send you? Do you remember? Maybe it was the Douglas DC-3. Was that the
No, it
one?
was the
TWA.
TWA terminal, bottom
Yep.
middle.
That's the one I found. I was like, because I thought it had five cards, and I found that I was like, oh yeah, there was an additional one. So this is the complete set that was made, and all on the back of them, they all had information, and they were all numbered, which was super nice. These are the two designs that were never printed. They were never made. The 1962 Field Flowers was one, which I thought was super cool, and it's almost kind of got that weird 60s color, almost like a it's not even pleasant to look at the food. You're looking at it going, that looks really disgusting. But that was really cool. And Field Flowers was actually a uniform. That was the name of the uniform back then,
Okay.
60s.
Oh,
They kind of
those are
went
great
from,
looking cards. Like,
yeah, I know. I don't know why they weren't printed. Maybe the team was like, six is good. Let's stay with six versus eight. And then the Curtis Condor, which is another one of the planes that I thought was super cool. And I included some of the older logos at the time, which was special. So there was a lot of research that was being done. We worked with the C.R. Smith Museum to come up with these, and it's really fun. I actually have the digital files from the cards. So if American Airlines ever wanted to reprint them, man, we could print them like now if we wanted to.
we'll go in on it. We'll make some money off of that.
Yeah, you want to do that? You want to do that on the side? I thought this was fun to show. So we did get a lot of photography when we were designing the cards, and I pulled these two images. They didn't do any cards showing the TWA airplane, even though they did the terminal. But then I thought some of these other 60s style uniforms, because they went from the military style to the hipper 60s and versions of the flight attendants uniforms. So, and
Wow.
then while I'm at it, I ended up doing all the design work for the original American Airlines apps, all like touchscreen apps and things like that. So, you know,
Wow.
I, I'll just show you.
With a game, it looks like.
Yeah, it actually had a Sudoku game in it because, I don't know if you flew back then, but back then, airlines, the American Way always had a Sudoku puzzle in it. So this is back when you'd fly in an airplane, you didn't have a phone with games on it. You really didn't. Everybody had maybe Nokia phones with the Snake game, but the way you entertained yourself was using a Sudoku game in the American Way puzzles section, and whenever you'd fly, it would always be filled out. So we pitched that to American
Mm,
Airlines.
wow.
You should put a Sudoku game in your app, and they were like, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of." They like didn't want to do it, and we fought them, and we were like, "You have to do it." Well, we ended up building it anyway, and then when they saw it in the app working before we released it, they're like, "Well, since you built it, we'll keep it in there." And then the C-level person who said that was the stupidest thing in the world, who no longer works there, claimed that it was his idea like a year or two
Wow.
afterwards because it was extremely popular. But I ended up doing all kinds of different apps for them. And then here's a cool set of cards that I did. So I did a lot of work on the Champions of Golf Masters collection. And then I actually did Tiger Woods rookie card for that set. More cards. So this is like I end up finding like slots or uncut sheets in my flat storage just recently. So now I'm kind of like, okay, I got to do something with this. I've only got two of these framed in my house, but I'm kind of like, there's people out there who would probably want them. And then really from trading cards is I went into designing games and online stuff, and that's kind of where I went from trading cards. So I thought it would be fun to kind of show some stuff. And then right now, I've started a couple companies and I've literally hit, I would say trading cards was during the desktop publishing boom, how technology goes. So it was desktop publishing. I did that. And then the internet happened. I ended up building websites and built up a company around that. And then mobile came along and I ended up building a lot of mobile games and mobile experiences. And now the last 10 years, I've been in extended reality and virtual reality and all kinds of
Wow.
emerging technology stuff. So that's kind of where my career has kind of gone from that. If you want to paint a long picture of what I've been doing. So
Wow, fantastic. Wow, I did not know you did all those things.
yeah, that's what I said. It's like, you know what? I've done a lot of interesting things that you might find interesting or your fans might find interesting. So I thought I might as well share.
That's great. Keeps you busy, keeps you out of trouble. And I was commenting about your background. You got a lot of cool gadgets and
Cool toys and stuff.
yeah.
And we were talking about collecting too. So it's like Legos. I have a Biotron from Micronauts. If I played with them as a kid, and I actually loved the Micronauts. So those are the things that I would collect. But on the trading card side, I never really collected them, even though I had them and I designed them. So don't hate me.
Now,
Yeah, it's like a person who makes movies who may not doesn't want to go see other movies. Like they get like
yeah.
they they're in the business and they're kind of like they don't live in the business. I don't know. So I've had a lot of these cards. So it's kind of weird. So with the trading cards, I received a lot of trading cards when I was designing. I ended up building a lot of games for Lego.com. So weird fact about me is I built the game along with my business partner Mike Blinsky. I built the game Elf Bowling in 1999. So Elf Bowling may not resonate with you, but
Um,
it was a weird internet phenomenon.
it was a Christmas game, right?
It was
With
a
a
Christmas game.
yeah, my parents played that for hours and hours. I'm aware of.
There you go. All right. See, I didn't prep you with that,
Yep.
but I built that game
I'm gonna
with
tell my parents about that tonight. They'll be
you should. They'll be like, "What?" I built that game with a friend of mine from the trading card business, and it was an internet phenomenon. It became the number one downloaded PC game of like 1999, I think, is what it was, and it really kind of changed my life into designing games. It was really our third game to do, and it was kind of like we did it for fun. We did it really to help promote our company, but back then there was this thing called the Ooga Shaka baby, where people would pass this dancing baby around. It was like a video of a baby. It was on a TV show. I forget the name of the show. Anyway, we were like, that's super cool. Everybody's passing around the Ooga Shaka baby.
that from Ellie McBeal or something.
Yeah, Ally McBeal. That's right. That's
I'm
right.
not proud that I knew that, but
And we thought, well, if we created something fun that people will pass around, we'll put our name on it, we'll put our logo on it, and we'll put everything that we do, and we'll use it as advertising. And so when we built Elf Bowling, it was our third game, and it blew up, and people thought it was a virus, and people thought it was going to take over your computer. And then it was getting downloaded like 10,000 times a second at its peak. And it was the number one download PC game of the year, beating out Quake or Doom, if you can
okay.
believe that. And
Yeah.
we gave it away for free. And so I ended up building games. I ended up doing a lot of games for Lego. So I ended up getting a lot of Legos, and which I've been putting online too, because they literally,
Hmm.
they've been in storage, and my kids have gone off to college, and I'm kind of like, my wife and I are in the house now, and we're kind of like, what are we going to do with all this stuff? And so I'm like, you know what? It's time that I start getting rid of this stuff. I'm going to just put it on eBay and see if people want it. And I've been meeting interesting people like you who are like, would anybody want these pilot cards, like these airline cards? And it's like, oh my God, people collect these. And so just like the Legos, I knew people collected Legos, but it's like, I have really weird Lego things that didn't get released or prototypes. And I'm like, I've just been holding on to them. And so I'm kind of getting rid of them so other people can enjoy them, basically. What I've been posting online, and I'm getting to meet some really great people out of it.
And where can we find you online?
So I do have a web page, danferguson.com. That's what I use as a portfolio of my work. And then I also post a lot of my current company's work up there. That's probably the best place to find me.
Okay.
Um, it's
Can I put your eBay store down below in the description of this video?
sure. Hey, yeah, why not? Yeah,
We want to support you. Some
that's
of my
awesome.
viewers may be emailing you asking you for more cards, but so I apologize.
Oh gosh, yeah, yeah. I only have one more set of the American Airlines ones. Unless I find more, I really think that's it.
Wow.
I've gone through a lot of my storage, and I'm like, that could be it.
Wow.
But I'm going to hold on to those
Put
until
them in
I'm
your casket with you.
until 10 years from now, and I'm like, well, I guess it's time to give these up.
Yeah.
So,
So Dan, thanks for answering my questions. Is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything else we didn't talk about?
so this could be considered trading card related, and not sports card related. Um, But when I was building the games, we had the opportunity to work on a program for with Star Wars, which I'm a huge Star Wars freak. Like I saw it in 1976 when I was a kid and probably saw it 10 times that summer. We got to work on episode 3, which maybe that was the Phantom Menace. I forget the actual name, but it was episode 3 with Skittles.
Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Okay, great. That's it. So what they Skittles wanted to do is they wanted to do a promotional program in conjunction with, so it was a collab with Star Wars. So they wanted to create some games, and they were going to design some special packages featuring characters from Star Wars and from the new movie. And when I heard about that, I was like, okay. This is what we need to do. Let's say if there's 3 or 4 different flavors of Skittles, then let's do 4 different packages, totally different packages, because they weren't going to do that originally. They were just going to do a Star Wars package. I was like, we should do four or five different characters for each of the packages so they become collectible. We didn't put numbers on them. We should have put numbers on them, but we did change the insertion rates. So, like Jabba the Hutt was really rare. So, if you bought Skittles at the time, I actually have a prototype on eBay right now from that pitch from we pitched it to Lucasfilms, and I was recently approached. Do you have any of the candies? I'm like, I actually have 2 or 3 of the boxes unopened. So these are Skittles bags that have not been opened in 25 years, but they're all the Star Wars characters. And so we ended up building the games and then also creating the designs for the packages, which I thought was super cool. And so it has some influences from trading cards, you know, kind of gamifying things that I do. It all kind of goes back to the trading card days.
I wish I'd known about him. I'm a big Star Wars fan.
Well, you know what? You'll love this. I did get to, when we were working on the games, I got to stay at Skywalker Ranch
Wow.
for 2 nights. And then also one of the games we were building, uh, we needed some Jedi Knight names for the game, and they were too busy with the movie, and they were like, just submit some names and we'll approve them and we'll put them in the official Jedi Knight roles. So my team's working on names, and I was like self-serving. I'm like, put Dando Ergison for
No
Dan,
way.
and they approved it. And so Dando Ergison is somewhere in Lucasfilm's roles to where it was part of the game, designing a lightsaber, and you're basically putting kyber crystals together to build a lightsaber. And so that made it kind of part of the fandom. I guess not really fandom, but part of the lore of Star Wars that nobody knows about. So that's a really cool claim to fame for me.
That's cool. Claim to fame. Nice
Yeah.
legacy you created. All right, Dan, thanks so much for letting me ask you those questions. I know you took some time out of your day to meet with us on this Zoom call. I definitely love collecting these cards, and I think they look great. And it's kind of a pleasure to kind of put these cards, get hear the background and meet the creator of them. So thank you so much for joining us today.
100%. I love it. You brighten my day that you have an appreciation for them, and I'm glad I'm able to still connect the dots with some people out there. When you get to create something and they appreciate it, and they like it, they even collect it. I mean, that's kind of one of the best things you could do in my career. So I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks everyone for joining us today and safe travels.
Bye, Gary.